Welcome to the channel. Today, we're exploring 75 amazing then and now photos of New York City that'll hit you with pure nostalgia. Don't forget to subscribe and press likes. Brooklyn Bridge Walkway, 1920 versus today. Since its 1883 opening, the bridge has been an iconic symbol. Despite early safety fears, it endures as a route for pedestrians and cyclists. Times Square, 1944 versus today. During World War II, servicemen mingled with Broadway crowds amid blackouts. After years of decline, Times Square transformed into a vibrant tourist hub. Mulberry Street Market, 1900 versus today. Once the heart of Little Italy, teeming with Italian immigrants. Now, the area has shrunk to a few blocks as Chinese immigrants moved in. 48th and 5th Avenue, 1947 versus now, post-blizzard scene at this Midtown intersection. Grand Central Terminal Ramp, 1913. The historic passage from suburban Concourse to Vanderbilt Avenue. Bryant Park, 1922. Midtown Manhattan's urban oasis. Fourteenth Street and 8th Avenue, 1937. Chelsea's busy intersection, where uptown meets downtown. A glimpse of daily life in pre-war Manhattan. Madison Square Garden, 1879 versus 2012. From ornate Victorian structure to modern sports complex, it's still the heart of city entertainment. Barge Home Clayson Point, a ship-turned house in the Bronx. This unique dwelling reflects the more relaxed building regulations of mid-20th century New York. Brooklyn Bridge Walkway, 1899 versus 2017. From horse-drawn carriages to cyclists and joggers. Empire State Building, 1930 versus 2019. From Art Deco icon to enduring symbol. The skyline has changed, but this landmark remains a constant. Elizabeth Street tenements, 100 years apart. This Lower East Side building showcases the preservation of historic architecture amid changing urban landscapes. Bowery Savings Bank, 1905 versus today. This grand building, completed in 1895, rose above its working-class surroundings. The bank moved in the 1920s, but kept a branch until 1982. Central Park Pond, 1933 versus now. The Plaza Hotel remains a constant backdrop to this scenic park view. Times Tower, 1908 versus now. Built for the New York Times, it's now vacant except for ground floors. Used for advertising and the New Year's Eve ball drop. Zito's Bakery, 1947 versus now. The bakery's closure marks the end of an era in this historic neighborhood. Park Avenue, 1936. Midtown Manhattan's elegant thoroughfare, lined with classic architecture. Bryant Park, 1922. Midtown's urban oasis in the Roaring Twenties. The park offers a serene contrast to the bustling city beyond. Manhattan Bridge entrance, 1917, the Lower East Side's gateway to Brooklyn. Essex and Delancey, 1967. Lower Manhattan's diverse streetscape. Queens Midtown Tunnel exit, 1941. A new gateway to Manhattan. This infrastructure project reshaped traffic flow in Midtown. Times Square, 1961. Midtown Manhattan's vibrant heart captures the energy of the early 1960s. Ellis Island Main Hall, 1902 to 1913 versus 2016, from Immigrant Gateway to National Monument. This space tells the story of millions seeking a new life. Luna Park, Coney Island, 1903 versus 2010. Coney Island's Luna Park continues to thrill, despite changing times. Rockaway Beach, 1903 versus 2014. Rockaway's boardwalk and shore remain a beloved summer escape for New Yorkers. Grand Central Main Concourse, 1930 versus 2014. A century of travelers passing through this Beaux-Arts masterpiece. Orchard and Rivington, 1967. Looking north on the Lower East Side. Columbus Circle, 1907 versus today, named in 1892, it now features towering buildings like Trump International Hotel and the luxury residences at 15 Central Park West. William Street and Maiden Lane, 1916 versus now, from street-level demolition to towering skyscrapers. Farley Post Office interior, 1916 versus now, from mail sorting to future train hall. This landmark is being transformed into the new Moynihan Station. Delancey Street toward Williamsburg Bridge, 1967. Lower Manhattan's bustling thoroughfare with the iconic bridge looming. Duffy Square, Times Square, Coca-Cola's enduring presence amid Times Square's evolution from neon to digital billboards. Statue of Liberty, 1900 versus 2018. Lady Liberty stands tall through a century of change. From welcoming immigrants to inspiring millions, she remains a beacon of hope. Fifth Avenue, 1913 versus 2016. The New York Public Library stands as a constant landmark amid a century of urban transformation. Yankee Stadium, opening day, 1923 versus 2021. The house that Ruth built gives way to a new era. Baseball tradition continues in the Bronx, albeit in a modernized setting. Gallagher's Steakhouse, founded by vaudeville performers and a gambler, it claims to have served the first New York strip steak. Broadway from Broome Street, 1917 versus now. A century of change along this iconic thoroughfare. Horse-drawn carriages replaced by cars, while historic buildings endure. Herald Square, 1908 versus 2008, a century of urban evolution. Once a newspaper hub, now a bustling retail center. 19 Pell Street, Chinatown. From gang hideout to barbershop. This building's colorful past includes suspected criminals and at least one murder. Fifth Avenue storefronts, 1911 versus 2014. Luxury pianos and tobacconists give way to chain stores. This block, between 38th and 39th Streets, reflects changing retail trends over a century. Taji and Van Duzer Street Market, 1945 versus now. From bustling corner store to modern streetscape. (42nd and 7th Avenue, 1920 versus now. From low-rise buildings to towering billboards and neon, this corner epitomizes New York City's evolution. Flatiron Building, 1918 versus 2017, an enduring architectural icon. Despite surrounding changes, this triangular landmark remains a beloved NYC symbol. Washington Square Park Fountain, 1950 versus now. The central fountain remains a focal point. Surrounding landscape has evolved. St. Mark's Church in the Bowery, built on Stuyvesant's chapel site from 1660. Houses Stuyvesant family vault. Survived fire and neglect. Now restored as a historic landmark. McSorley's Old Ale House, opened since 1854. This historic pub has served famous patrons. (61st Street and 1st Avenue, 1938. Upper East Side's residential charm. This corner showcases the neighborhood's pre-war architecture and quiet streets. Grand Central Terminal, 1913. This hub of commuter activity showcases the terminal's role in city life. Fifth Avenue Shopping, 1900 versus 2011. From horse-drawn carriages to luxury storefronts, Fifth Avenue remains a world-renowned shopping destination. Fifth Avenue Solitude, 1938 versus now. Once a quiet stroll, now a bustling shopping mecca. Empire State Building View, 1933 versus 2016. From 41st and 5th, the iconic skyscraper remains a dominant presence. Broad Street to Federal Hall, 1910 versus 2016. The historic Federal Hall endures as a symbol of American democracy. Mott Street Funeral Procession, 1905. A glimpse into early 20th century Chinatown life as mourners pay respects in a traditional funeral procession. San Remo Cafe, 1937 versus now. This Greenwich Village corner lost a piece of bohemian history when the cafe closed in 1967. Little Syria, World Trade Center area, once a bustling immigrant enclave, now unrecognizable. This 1940s view contrasts sharply with today's financial district. World Circus Sideshow, Coney Island, 1922 to 1941, home to famous sideshow acts. This attraction brought carnival spectacle to Brooklyn's famous boardwalk. Gideon Tucker House, Tribeca, an 1809 federal-style home built by a city alderman. Fourteenth Street and 8th Avenue, 1937. This candid scene captures the everyday rituals of Manhattan street life. Mott Street, 1967, the heart of Manhattan's Chinatown. NYC Building, 1921 versus 2016. The iconic facade endures as a symbol of Wall Street's power and influence. Apollo Theater, 1946 to 48 versus 2019. Harlem's legendary stage evolves from jazz-era hotspot to enduring cultural landmark. G. Cayozzo Candy Store, Staten Island. From wooden porch and gravel road to concrete sidewalk, it's evolved while keeping its core structure. Tip of Manhattan, 1935 versus today. This historic view shows Manhattan's skyline rising from bedrock. The shoreline was extended by landfill, with piers now turned into parks. East 57th Street transformation. From 1911, residential row to modern commercial hub. The 5-spot, St. Mark's Place, second location of the legendary jazz club that hosted greats like Thelonious Monk, a cultural hotspot of the East Village music scene. Hotel Edison, Theatre District, opened in 1931 with Thomas Edison himself switching on the lights. Zito's Bakery, 1937 versus now. The bakery's closure marks the end of an era on Bleecker Street. Times Square, 1903 versus 2020. From horse-drawn carriages to digital billboards. The High Line, 1950 versus today. Once a vital freight line through Manhattan's West Side, it now serves as an elevated park. France's Tavern, 1900 versus 2016. Historic site of Washington's farewell to troops and Hamilton Burr meeting. The tavern's exterior remains largely unchanged over a century later. St. Patrick's Day Parade, 1909 versus 2019. A century of Irish pride on Fifth Avenue. The parade's spirit endures, though fashions and faces have changed.